Special thank you to my patrons for helping make this video happen. It's November 12th, 2016, and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons are in Louisville to face off against the Louisville Cardinals. The mood back in Winston-Salem is high, having clinched the program's 11th ever bowl game a week prior, the first under third-year head coach Dave Clawson. No one's giving them a chance in hell to win today, though, with the Cardinals boasting a number 5 ranking in the AP poll, and the nation's eventual Heisman and quarterback Lamar Jackson. It was all but predestined to be a wash. In response, Wake Forest took to the lab. Clawson's staff figured if their squad was expected to lose anyways, they might as well get creative with it and experiment with some new trick plays. They're plays with just enough sense to work and just enough lunacy to only be thought up at a school like Wake Forest, which made it all the more strange when those exact same plays were found in a Louisville binder. In 2013, Wake Forest head coach Jim Grobe retired after his 13th season. Leading one of college football's most impressive turnarounds, Grobe would lead the Deacons to 5 bowl games in both their first double-digit win season and their second ACC title in 2006. Feats made all the more impressive considering Wake Forest sits dead last among their peers in both enrollment and winning percentage. It's a near impossible place to win, but Grobe did so anyway. His replacement would be Bowling Green's Dave Clawson, coming off a 10-3 season and the Falcons' first conference title since 1992. In the transition between Grobe's old staff and Clawson's, a number of people would be let go, as is customary, including one Tommy Elrod, a former Deacon football player and longtime member of Grobe's staff. You'd imagine there'd be some bitterness, even if staff turnover is standard practice for an incoming head coach. That being said, there didn't seem to be any ill will. Elrod accepted the firing and even stayed in Winston-Salem as a radio announcer. He would remain close to the program, with players and coaches having nothing but praise for Elrod and his character. Shortly after arriving, Clawson would begin building his vision for Wake Forest, beginning with how he ran practice. Clawson's practices would be uncharacteristically open, both to reporters and NFL scouts, with the hope of putting as many eyes as humanly possible on the football program. Wake Forest is small. Winston-Salem is isolated from North Carolina's biggest population centers, and the Deacons remain perpetually overshadowed by the rest of Tobacco Road to their east and Clemson to their south. The more opportunities people have to see Clawson's program in action, the better. Or so he thought. As soon as the Louisville game ended, the binder's contents were handed over to Wake Forest athletic director Ron Wellman, who promptly alerted the ACC. Back on campus, Clawson would hold a meeting with his players and staff, alerting them to the situation. The stolen plays were never used in game, which could only mean one thing. The call was coming from inside the house. Winston-Salem had a mole. The investigation would revolve around 3 programs: Louisville, Virginia Tech, and Army, all of which had played Wake Forest the past few years, and all were found to be stealing signs from the Deacons, leading investigators down a digital paper trail that led right back to none other than Tommy Elrod. As one of the team's primary broadcasters, he was given full access to the team, their workouts, their playbook, and crucially 24-hour access to film. From there, Elrod could simply just send over the plays, sometimes the day before a game, as was the case in the 2016 Louisville game. Calls and emails would eventually be uncovered between Elrod and a number of opposing assistant coaches, including his former co-worker and Louisville's wide receivers coach Lonnie Galloway, Virginia Tech's running backs coach Shane Beamer, and Army's defensive coordinator Jay Bateman. The leaks would date back as far as 2014, spanning at the very least 9 total games, including Virginia Tech and Wake Forest's infamous 0-0 regulation game. Although it's not completely unreasonable to assume there were more ACC programs making use of the leak. All in all, the 3 programs proven to be involved in the leak would be fined $25,000 each by the ACC, with the money coming out of the respective paychecks of the 3 coordinators directly involved with Elrod, with Elrod himself being fired from his post. That was it. For a cheating scandal going back 3 years, the collective consequences were a $75,000 fine and 1 firing, by Wake Forest themselves, mind you, not the ACC. To put that in perspective, Vanderbilt this year will have to pay a fine almost 10 times that amount for just storming the field and court multiple times. Outside of Elrod, everyone involved kept their jobs and are still coaching to this day. Galloway is currently North Carolina's wide receivers coach, Bateman is with Texas A&M, and Shane Beamer is the current head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. The NCAA also never even felt the need to get involved, despite knowing of the leak. By the end of one of the most comprehensive sign-stealing operations in recent college football memory, almost everyone got off scot-free, and no one outside of Winston-Salem seemed to care. It's a situation made even more bizarre in light of Michigan's recent sign-stealing scandal in 2023, a situation the NCAA immediately investigated, and one that brought about far harsher punishments than any that faced Army, Virginia Tech, or Louisville. The unequal enforcement of the Michigan scandal and WakeyLeaks, and their respective coverage by sports media at large, all cycled back to the inherent struggles of the Wake Forest football program. They were small, isolated, and overshadowed by their neighbors, even in the eyes of the NCAA. Wake Forest would end the 2016 season 7-6 with a win over Temple in the Military Bowl, and immediately after, Deacon offensive coordinator Warren Ruggiero would begin rebuilding their compromised playbook from the ground up, inadvertently creating one of modern college football's most innovative offensive schemes in the process. Meet the RPO, or run-pass option, an evolution of the option that's seen widespread use in recent years. The basic concept lies in how an offense reacts to an opposing defense in real time, especially opposing linebackers who are in charge of defending both the rushing and passing game. If they drop back expecting a pass, the quarterback can hand the ball off and take advantage of the opening. If they come in expecting a rush, the quarterback can throw it downfield and take advantage of the soft coverage. A big problem with the RPO, however, is that these reads need to be made in the span of a second. Otherwise, the play gets blown up, which often isn't enough time to discern what a defense is going to do. Which leads us to Wake Forest RPO, the slow mesh. When the play begins, the quarterback immediately hands the ball off to his running back, cradling the ball in his chest while he looks downfield. If the defense expects a rush, the ball is still in the quarterback's hands, meaning he can simply rip it away from the running back and chuck it downfield. If the defense calls your bluff, well, the ball is already in the running back's hands. You can simply complete the handoff. There's obviously a lot of nuance, but this is essentially what Ruggiero and the Deacons cooked up following the leak. And for years, it was unstoppable. In 2016, the Wake Forest offense finished 119th of 128 in points per game. In 2017, with largely the same roster, they finished 21st. Then 35th in 2018, 42nd in 2019, 19th in 2020, and 4th in 2021, where they reached the 11-win mark for the second time in program history, making their second ever ACC championship in the process. What truly made the slow mesh special, though, was its exclusivity. Only Wake Forest ran it, well, correctly at least. And with WakeyLeaks in recent memory, its intricacies would be kept under lock and key for Dave Clawson's entire tenure. Clawson would retire following the 2024 season, ranking 3rd among Wake Forest head coaches in overall wins, 5th in winning percentage, 2nd in games coached, and holding 7 of the Deacons' 17 bowl games, 1 of the Deacons' 5 final AP poll appearances, and 1 of the Deacons' 2 double-digit winning seasons. There are plenty of questions regarding the future of the Demon Deacons, both internally and within its larger conference, but there's no question that Dave Clawson's tenure ranks among his program's best. Thanks in part to one of the strangest controversies to come from the sport of American football, and one scorned assistant coach. I'd like to, again, thank my patrons: Jake Hageman, Shane Bailey, Mantis Toboggan, Captain Coey, The King of War 541, William L. Jagnow, Aiden Wong, Yeah Avenue, Ryan Liu, Authentic Sims, Max Kern, Joe Sports 2022, Lance Justice, Class Jackson Lawsuit, Hoppe, October Rosto 2, Justin Pedraza, Cole, Nick Knudsen, Lurker, Trashcan Gus, Ease.L, Spicy Bape, The Erupturatan, Adrian Genge, Deatheros, Sean McWilliams, CC, The Hidden Source, Bradley Moore, at Signwood, Scarface 1, Mega Doomer, Phillip, and Crosley Jones. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see y'all in the next video.